Can there be moral responsibility without free will? Harry Frankfurt, a philosophy professor, sets out to show how moral responsibility can square with determinism, in his 1969 article, Alternate Possibilities and Moral Responsibility. His argument hence supports the compatibilist view of free will. If those terms such as determinism and compatibilism do not make sense to you, please watch a video I made concerning the major positions concerning the question on free will. The link is in the description. Briefly, determinism is the view that we have free will, everything has been predetermined. Compatibilists are determinists, but in addition, they hold that we remain free since we are unobstructed, though we may not truly have a choice to choose otherwise than the course of action that we took. This leads to the question, if we had no choice, can we be morally responsible? To begin with, what does it mean to be morally responsible? Moral responsibility can be summed up in the principle of alternate possibilities, which states, a person is morally responsible for what he has done only if he could have done otherwise. While the principle of alternate possibilities may seem reasonable to the extent that it is considered an a priori truth by some philosophers, Frankfurt presents a series of thought experiments culminating in one involving protagonist, Jones, and antagonist, Black, with a result contrary to the principle of alternate possibilities. In the fourth and final thought experiment in his paper, Black wants Jones to carry out a specific action, A, and is prepared to go to considerable lengths to get his way. However, Black takes a wait-and-see approach to see if Jones will simply carry out action A on his own volition. Mysteriously, Black is an excellent judge of such things and waits till it becomes clear to him that Jones is going to adopt an alternate action before swapping in to coerce Jones into executing the desired action A. There are then two possible scenarios: 1. Jones does A because he desires to, or 2. Jones wishes to do an alternate action and before he can do so, he is coerced by Black. The outcome of either scenario is the same: Black gets his way and A happens through Jones's action. According to the principle of alternate possibilities, Jones could not have done otherwise as he did, and so Jones is absolved of moral responsibility. This absolution runs contrary to our moral intuitions, which suggest that in scenario 1, Jones is indeed morally responsible, deserving of praise or blame as the case may be. Jones may have had no alternatives, but Black did not play a role in Jones's actions. Black could have been altogether absent and Jones would still have executed A. Having uncovered this critical flaw in the principle of alternate possibilities as logic, Frankfurt then saves the principle by reformulating it in a negative way, adding two knots to narrow its applicability. A person is not morally responsible for what he has done if he did it only because he could not have done otherwise. Both positive and negative formulations of the principle of alternate possibilities links choices, actions, and where moral responsibility consequently falls. A lack of choice can be from external coercion, such as the role Black played in the thought experiment of Black and Jones in scenario 2. However, Frankfurt notes that Black is simply a placeholder, which can be substituted with a machine programmed to do what Black does. More importantly, he writes, forget both Black and the machine and suppose their role is played by natural forces involving no will or design at all. This notion of natural forces ties in with Frankfurt's claim that moral responsibility is compatible with determinism. Black need not be a corporal person lurking in the background with sinister intent, but can be replaced by the unstoppable and ineluctable progress of a deterministic world, where its agents have a fixed trajectory since the beginning of the universe. To elucidate this, we can turn back to the thought experiment, this time replacing black with the force of nature, which presumably has no will or design. In scenario 1, Jones will anyhow do action A out of his own volition. In scenario 2, the forces of nature have seen that Jones is tilting towards an alternate possibility and somehow exerts itself to propel Jones to carry out action A. In scenario 1, Jones, in line with our moral intuitions, has moral responsibility, while in scenario 2, he is absolved since he was coerced by nature to do A. The mystery of how Black is an excellent judge of what Jones' next action will be is now solved, along with the lengths to which Black is willing to go to get his way, since the deterministic world is moving ineluctably on its determined path. So Jones in scenario 1, remains morally responsible since his actions are driven by his own motives and desires even in a deterministic universe, making moral responsibility compatible with determinism. This is in opposition to the libertarian conception of free will, which denies that moral responsibility is possible in a deterministic world. Frankfurt has hence resolved the difficulty of how moral responsibility can be retained in the compatibilist, and by extension, the determinist view of free will.